Hello everyone! So today I thought it would be fun to kind of explore and play around with some different mermaid hairstyles. As you may know, May is right around the corner, and whether or not you are an avid participant or just an observer in the art community, you have probably heard of May, MerMay. And in case you haven't, MerMay is a monthly art challenge created by the legendary animator Tom Bancroft, where every day for the month of May, you draw a mermaid. It's really big in the art community, and as long as I have known about it, I have participated in it to some capacity, whether I've drawn a mermaid every day or just tried. I have loved mermaids since I was a little girl, and so to me, May is one of my favorite months out of the year because it's just 31 days of mermaids all over my feed on every app, and it makes me so happy. It makes me feel like a little girl again, and I just love drawing them. So, in my opinion, this is one of the best months out of the year, and I just thought maybe in preparation for the month, we could kind of explore some different whimsical hairstyles that may or may not inspire you for your mermaids this year. I know that I've been wanting to try some different hairstyles for my mermaids. I definitely have a habit of falling into just the typical flowy, undone mermaid hair, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is kind of the classic or default hairstyle for any mermaid, but this year I kind of wanted to break out of that same hairstyle. I know that when people think of mermaids, at least for me, that's what I imagine. I imagine that big flowy hair, kind of like Ariel, underwater where her hair is just always all around her. But I feel like mermaids are also the perfect opportunity to try any hairstyle because, again, nothing has to make sense. They're mermaids. It's magical. It can be whatever you want it to be. So that's what we're doing today. We're just going to explore a couple different hairstyles that I felt like were really giving mermaid. And yeah, hopefully they inspire you for your mermaids this month, or maybe they'll inspire you to try a new hairstyle tomorrow. Who knows? But before we get into it, I'm just going to insert a few photos and examples of mermaids that I've done in the past. So you'll see some of those default flowy hairstyles that I've done. I've done some different unique hairstyles, but again, most of the time it's kind of just long, flowy hair. So to break out of that, I spent a little bit of time yesterday kind of sketching out some ideas, and I decided to kind of draw out some of my favorite hairstyles that I saw, and then pick 4 of my favorite ones to sketch out today for the video. And just a heads up, if I sound different or if you hear me sniffle or anything, I apologize. I've been sick for like 2 weeks. Justin got sick, and then I got sick, and it's one of those really, really wicked colds that just sticks with you. So I'm just now starting to get my voice back to normal. I lost my voice like completely last week, and it took forever for it to come back. So if I sound like a completely different person, that's why. But anyway, enough talking. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so I've drawn out 4 different heads for us to play around with, and I thought we could sketch out 4 different hairstyles that I thought were just giving mermaid. So let's go ahead and start up here with this one. Now I'll put a picture up, but this one is actually slightly inspired by a mermaid that I've already drawn this year for 2025 MerMay. So let's go ahead and just get into it. This one is kind of made up of braids. So we've got a half up, half down situation. So I'll start by drawing the kind of buns, and then separating the hair with the braids. Okay, try to make sure these are the same size. And then I'm gonna add, I think, some small braids here. And then also some baby hairs here. And then I want to have, I think, some larger braids here, but they're larger braids made up of all the smaller braids. So those are gonna come down, and then we'll have maybe an addition of smaller braids that are not a part of these bigger chunk of braids. So I'm just kind of mapping out where I want the braids to be, and then I will go back in and actually draw the braided hair. This just kind of helps me make sure that the braids are kind of flowing like hair should be, because if I just immediately go in and draw like the braided bits, it'll kind of look stiff, if that makes any sense. So I like to give myself a guide. And I'm guessing this mermaid isn't necessarily underwater at the moment, which is why the hair is kind of just resting on her shoulders. And then I kind of want some hairs sticking out of this. I don't know if this makes sense, but it was in the hairstyle that I saw and I thought it was really cute. So now we'll go ahead and actually start drawing the braids. Kind of redefine, I think, those baby hairs. Okay. And then let's actually map out these big braids. Now, you can make the hair as long as you want it to be, but obviously I'm kind of limited with how much room I have. In fact, this is actually probably a little bit too long because I don't know what hairstyle I'm gonna put here. So I think I'm gonna bring that up by one. But typically, this would look really good with like a super long hairstyle. I feel like most of the time when people draw mermaids, including myself, you kind of default to longer hair, and there are plenty of cute mermaid themed hairstyles that you can do with short hair. I've done plenty of short hair mermaids, but for this video, I think all of the hairstyles that I chose are long hairstyles. But maybe I should do a part 2 to this video with short hairstyles. Okay, let's do the mini braids, so the way that I do a lot of small braids like this, so as to not overcomplicate the drawing, I like to just add little X's into the braid because it's a little bit more simplified than doing an actual braid like this. It just kind of fits better with my style, I feel like. So I'm gonna add that really quick. Plus, I just kind of like the way that it looks. Maybe I'm silly and maybe I'll look back on this and be like, girl, just draw the actual braids. But as of right now, I don't know, I thought it kind of suited my style when I did it for a couple of drawings that I've done. I did it for the mermaid that this hairstyle is inspired by. You know, because sometimes as an artist you have to take creative liberties, and even though something isn't super realistic, it might make more sense in the context of the drawing, if that makes sense. And then let me just re-outline these. So the reason I bring that up is because I'm not sure if I want these little braids to look like they're just made up of a couple of these smaller braids, or if I want them to be kind of like these braids. I think I'll do a mix, maybe. And maybe we can add like some little gems at the bottom. Perhaps. I also might be overthinking it. I tend to do that. Overthinking is a thing that I do best. Okay, so we've got two smaller braids, and then maybe these ones will just be the braids that I have up there. And maybe we'll do some more beads on the bottom. I feel like the best part about fun hairstyles like these with mermaids is that you can kind of adorn them with like anything. So I love adding pearls, seashells. Okay, you know what? I actually don't like the shape of this. So let me try that again. And instead, let's just draw straight down, and we'll add more. I think that might make more sense. Sometimes I don't even add these little X's to all of the braids. Again, to not overcomplicate the drawing. And I think this I will have I will have as like another one of these small braids. Let's just fill this up with more of these braids. I feel like that only makes sense because only half of her hair is up. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. Okay, so hopefully you kind of get what I'm going for. And then let's just add this last small braid. this point I'm kind of just faking it there, not doing a very good job. And then with these big braids, I want to make sure it looks like a bunch of the smaller braids. It's a braid made up of braids, is what I'm going for. So, just gonna add a few strands or bits of the braid that have those little X's in it. Okay, I think I'll call it there for this one. Oh wait, oops. I forgot about these front little tendrils, which I do think I want to be braids. Okay, so I don't actually know. Maybe I do just want them to be basic little tendrils of hair, because then that kind of matches the hair on the side here. I always hate having to erase anything that I've already drawn. Like if I have hair going over any part of the face, it always feels so like sad. Okay. And that is kind of what we're going with. She looks, I'm not gonna lie, a little silly with the hair. I feel like going right over her eyes, but you get the idea. She could tuck these behind her ears, but anyway, so this is hairstyle number 1. Hopefully you get the idea. Hi, so quick editing note from future Maddie. I decided after sketching each of these that I also wanted to sketch them on my iPad because I did want to get a better idea as to what they might look like with some color. So I'll show the process for the digital versions after each sketch. So moving on, let's go to hairstyle number 2. Okay, now the second hairstyle that I have here is actually going to feature even more braids. I just feel like, I don't know, braids are fun, and this was kind of giving mermaid or maybe main character in an anime. But basically for this one, what I'm thinking here is kind of just one big braid that kind of comes down the back like that, and then some front braids, some smaller front braids up here, and then kind of sitting right at the back of this big braid could be like a cluster of shells or flowers or something mermaidy, you know? So let's start by building that big braid. Let's see. And the thing with mermaids is you can pretty much get away with anything, I feel like, when it comes to hair, because it's mermaids, you know? They have an absurd amount of hair in a lot of cases. Again, you can always do shorter hair too, but this is also that time of year where you can kind of get away with drawing like ridiculous amounts of hair, super flowy hair, hair that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. I just feel like you can get away with things more when it's a mermaid. Physics aren't really a thing you need to worry about. Now, of course, this braid is being shown from the side, which is why it kind of just looks like twists of hair rather than actual braids. It's kind of one of my favorite ways to draw a braid from the side because it looks so cool, and you don't really see the other side of the braid. So again, it just looks like one big twist. And again, probably am encroaching on this bottom drawing a little bit too much, but that's okay. We'll deal with it when we get there. So big braid is kind of done. Let's do the smaller braids. I'm gonna switch to a sharper pencil. And just add the braids. I feel like sometimes I have an okay time drawing tiny braids, and then sometimes I don't like what I'm doing. I don't know. Okay, so we've got a tiny braid. Okay, sorry the camera keeps unfocusing. I'm afraid to have it on manual focus in case it's like not focused the entire time and I just don't realize it until I like watch the clip back on my computer. Okay, so we're imagining that there are two braids there, and there's one big braid here. I feel like if I was actually doing this on like a full drawing, I would probably make these braids a lot longer. But again, for the sake of space, it's shorter. So maybe the back of her hair, we can add little seashells. And this is something that I didn't really do with this hairstyle because I feel like for a sketch, there's already a lot going on. But again, if I was doing this for an actual illustration, I would add a lot of little like pearls and things to the hair. So I feel like that would look really, really good. And then same with this one, probably just pearls everywhere, maybe some plants, which I guess I can kind of add to this. As much as I love drawing mermaids, I hate drawing seashells. That is my confession for the day. I don't mind drawing these like clamshell type seashells, but every other type of seashell, like for some reason I never bother to draw, and I've never really enjoyed drawing. I just can't get them right, which is probably just because I don't ever bother to draw them. Maybe this year I should change that. I probably won't, but that's okay. Okay, and then the last thing I usually like to do with like really big braids like this is add some tendrils of hair that are kind of coming out of it, just to kind of add a little bit of interest to the shape of the braid, if that makes sense. Especially if it's like a big old braid like this, it's probably gonna have a lot of hair coming out. I don't know. Especially if it's also underwater, too. Okay, little pearls maybe. Okay. And that is hairstyle number 2. Basically just a big braid with some little braids. So let's go ahead and move on to hairstyle number 3. Hairstyle number 3 I'd actually intended to draw on like a front-facing face, but I feel like the 4th hairstyle would also look better with a front-facing face. So we're just gonna draw it from the side. So for this hairstyle, I think a lot of people call it like a jellyfish hairstyle. It's a hairstyle that the singer Aurora has, I believe. I also did this hairstyle for my first D&D character. So basically what it is it's just short hair and then long, flowy tendrils of hair. So I'm a big fan of this hairstyle purely because it's the best of both worlds. I love short hair. I love drawing short hair. I don't know what it is, I just think it's so cute and you can never go wrong. But if you're somebody who also likes drawing long hair and you like having the freedom to kind of draw that like super flowy look, I feel like this hairstyle is a really nice meet in the middle sort of a thing, because it's all short and then you have those few little tendrils of long hair where you can kind of go crazy with the like flowiness of it. Okay, again, drawing this hairstyle from this angle though was maybe not the best show of how cute it can be. You get the idea. Lots of short, cute, fluffy hair, and then long tendrils. So let's go ahead and erase maybe. Now, there would be 2 of these tendrils of hair, but again, kind of for the sake of not wanting to overcomplicate things, I don't know. I'll draw like kind of some of the hair behind it. But you get the idea. I keep thinking this is an eraser shaving, it's just part of the paper. It's one of the downsides to working with this toned paper. Okay, and that is hairstyle number 3. Hopefully you kind of get what I was going for. I just feel like the jellyfish hairstyle like this is such a perfect mermaid hairstyle because it's so unique and like whimsical. And again, you get the best of both worlds. You get to draw short and long hair. So, yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the 4th and final hairstyle. This last hairstyle I thought was so cute and also just gives the vibe of whimsical, magical mermaid. And I'll try to insert a picture here of the photo that I found on Pinterest, slash what I'm trying to go for here. And basically what it looks like, I think, is just kind of like, looks like maybe a 4C hair type. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't know hairstyle or fashion very well, but I know the basics. But basically, it looks like a very coily or curly hair type, but kind of done up in these, not quite braids. It's like that type of, I'm sure there's a name for it maybe, but as an example, I can think of Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate and Jasmine from Aladdin, where it's not quite a braid. I think Shadowheart's technically is a braid, but it doesn't look like a braid. It just looks like sections of hair where you add hair ties to it, and then it kind of looks like a little puff of hair. Then you add another hair tie, and then another one, and make another little puff of hair. I really hope I'm making sense. But that's what this hairstyle seems to be kind of made of, and I thought it was so cute, and I had to try it. So we're gonna see if I can make that happen. And this one I feel like would also just be one of those hairstyles that would look so good with like a bunch of mermaid like items added to it, like seashells, pearls, jewels and stuff. So I'm kind of just trying to get the shape first, like the silhouette of this hairstyle. And I'm imagining it's kind of all over to one side. Okay, and I feel like this one piece that starts on the forehead there is also pretty important. It's like the main focal piece. This one's kind of fun because you basically just draw, it seems like little like bubbles. Ugh, I just think it's so cute. It's kind of a hairstyle that I feel like I would have been obsessed with as a little girl, because I always really was very fascinated by Jasmine's hairstyle from Disney's Aladdin. I think maybe they were going for braid with that hairstyle, I'm not sure. Again, I don't know too much about hair or hairstyle, but I was always very fascinated and in love with her hair, and I feel like had I seen this as a kid, ooh, it would have been over. All of my characters in my drawings would have had this hairstyle. We're just kind of filling it up and making them smaller towards the bottom. I don't know exactly if I want there to be beads at the ends of these or just hair. I also imagine this would be a lot of fun to do like as a super, super long hairstyle. But I feel like a broken record saying this. For the sake of space on this paper, I cannot go too long. But yeah, this is just, I'm sorry, this is so fun. I actually don't have any mermaids so far planned with this hairstyle, but now I feel like I absolutely have to. Okay. So that is this hairstyle, and I think I'm gonna add, let me erase some bits here. And maybe I'll add some pearls and things. Yeah, if I had this hair, I would just constantly add so many cute accessories. This is perfect mermaid hair. I really have been wanting to do more interesting hairstyles for my mermaids, and I feel like this is one that I'm definitely gonna have to incorporate. I keep saying that, but look how cute it is. Okay, I think that's good. So this is hairstyle number 4. So I'm gonna go back and just kind of freshen up or re-outline some of this hair and then add a little bit of white to the eyes, and kind of go over the faces again real quick, just so that we can get kind of a more complete picture of each of these hairstyles. So I will be right back. All right, so there we have 4 different mermaid hairstyles for you to try during May. I think they turned out pretty cute. I think these would be a lot of fun to do both as short and long hairstyles. Obviously, there is an infinite amount of hairstyles that you can try out there, especially when it comes to mermaids, who are, I feel like, kind of known for having super long, fun hair. So if you want me to do a part 2 to this video, let me know. Maybe I can focus on shorter hairstyles. But hopefully this gave you a little bit of inspiration for your mermaids this year. Hopefully you guys don't get sick of seeing mermaids all over your feed all month. So let me know which hairstyle is your favorite, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!